Hello and welcome back to uh, the Power Rangers 30 years and beyond. Where today I will be talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 2. And what you are hearing is the theme song to the first season of Power Rangers. Uh, Honestly, I had it on my first season slide, so I don't know why did it come on my slideshow. But I will be talking about season 2 today, and because I have another event scheduled next week, I plan on doing recordings for season 2 this week, and then season 3 uh, will also be this week, and I plan to formulate next week. So, like I said, on season 2 of Power Rangers, um, the Super Sentai adaptations are a little different for this season, as is um, it is still based on Zyranger, but it borrows elements from the following series, Gosai Sentai Ranger, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, and um, and you'll see why Ranger fits in a few minutes. Um, the episode count is 52, and from this point on, when I do the episode counts, I didn't do it with the first season so much. So uh, when I do it from this point on, I will do the episode count from this season, but I will add that to the total of the previous Power Ranger season. So that's why you see it in parentheses. So if you count this season's 52 episode count, you have the total series count up to this point as 112, which is why I have that in parentheses. And the majority of the Zyranger 2 footage is used here, with the exception being some use of the Zord footage, which I will also explain in a minute. This goes also back to the Ranger, or I think I'm saying it right. The cast changes halfway through the season, and I will talk about it with some of my favorite episodes. That should have said episodes instead of season. And also halfway through the second season one, the filming of the movie will take place in Australia, which pushes back some episodes, and a few others were deleted to make room. There were like a few episode scripts that were considered for the season, but didn't actually get produced. So they had other scripts in mind to, as backup. The filming of the movie ran longer than they allegedly thought. And so the cast is still the same um, as part as season one. For the pictures, I used nearly all of the season two opening intro, but I kept Jason Franks as season one as the Green Ranger, and for that, again, you'll understand why I did it in a few minutes. So be patient with me, or just bear with me on this. And the cast changes around a little. You still have Jordan, but now he's voiced by Robert Monahan from this point on. Although Fielding's face is still used uh, as Jordan, you still have Alpha 5, still have Bulk and Skull returning this season. You still have Arnie played by Rachel Janelle. You have Principal Kaplan and Mrs. Appleby, which is weird that they're the only core faculty members shown at Angel Grove High School. Apparently, the budget is being used on everything else, which leads me to believe that Angel Grove High School is very understaffed. But you have two newbies added to the cast who make multiple appearances. The first is Richie, played by Maurice Mendoza, and Richie kind of serves as a love interest to Twainy. And then you have Curtis, played by Joe Rogers, who is basically Zach's cousin, who also becomes friends with Richie at some point. And then they become phased out, and you'll understand why also in a few minutes. So let's get going. The call to action is still it's morphing time, but the other phrase I didn't incorporate there is Jason's call of back to action. And all right, so the first episode of the new season is called The Mutiny, and it is a 3-part series premiere, but it is very unusual as it was the first children's show to have. When I remember growing up, it had its first 2 parts premiere in prime time, but when I went back and all the episodes aired, I believe it was the first children's show to exclusively premiere all 3 parts during prime time. I think I forgot to tape record the final part of it. And I believe all 3 parts premiered weekly before they began showing again in August or September daytime. So this sets up things that are new to the Power Rangers plotline. It introduced a subplot for Bulk and Skull, which was they wanted to try to discover the identities of the Power Rangers, and this usually always ends up with comical results. A new villain is introduced into the series, and the villain is the villain you see on the top right of the screen is Lord Zed, and he is just again made. He is exclusive to the Power Rangers universe, and in my opinion, looks totally badass. And he comes with his own group of putties, which are known as the Z putties, which act as the foot soldiers. Obviously, the putties are more harder for the Power Rangers to defeat. The only way you can defeat them is by kicking the Z on their chest. So that's another thing. And with with this, a new group of swords are introduced into the flame, which when combined, it becomes the Thunder Sword. And it is the first to introduce another subplot arc, which unofficially begins here. The limited powers of the Green Ranger, as now every time Tommy uses his Green Ranger powers, he gets a little weaker in the process, and because of that, he doesn't have his own sword early on to replace the Dragon Sword. So it is the unofficial beginning of that subplot arc. But the arc itself truly begins in the 7th episode, known as the Green Dream. And then from episode 7, which introduces one of the saddest endings ever to the Power Ranger franchise, we truly see the end of the Green Ranger era with Green No More. The 2 episodes were aired on September 27th and 28th. And it was the 12th and 13th episode of the 2nd season. So as a whole, it would have been episode 72 and 73. And I forgot to mention that with the opening background scroll change, I will also be incorporating in where we stand as a whole within the season with these episodes. So now, the Green No More is a 2-parter that basically sees the end of the Green Ranger, and it will have its reverberations following in the next 3 episodes after the 2-parter, as it totally affects the team as a whole, not having Tommy as the Green Ranger. The team is affected by it in certain ways, as they thought of Tommy as a confidant and somebody that could help be beneficial to the team. And but the main thing I would like to highlight is the field battle that you see um, with the main villain Turbo Cell, I think, gain autocorrect, and but most importantly, Gordo. And I think looking through it as the eyes of an adult and seeing more of the film aspects, and even as a kid, I really enjoyed this battle sequence because it plays on Tommy's mentality and whether or not he let the team down. And as the Green Ranger, first of all starting off as evil, then becoming with the forces of good, it almost seems that Goldar is, within the series itself, acknowledges that the Green Ranger's powers are limited, but he's also trying to take him back to the dark side. So this really works well, and I did like some of the writing, and I did really like the battle sequence, how it was edited, how it was structured. So everything just works out. And as you can see, Zach sports a new hairdo, which I'm gonna complain about this for the time being. In the first season of this, he has he sports an afro hairdo, and in this he has a Jamaican haircut. Strangely, in another show, well, I saw as a little kid, Nickelodeon Space Cases, he has the same thing, whereas you see him having the afro in the first season, and then you see Walter Jones sporting the same Jamaican haircut in the second season or so, which I didn't know if that was a mere coincidence but I thought it was funny being like 15 or 16 watching the show and just knowing off the back, hey, Walter Jones is sporting the same haircut for 2 seasons of Space Cases as he did the first 2 seasons of Mighty Morphin. So, but that, I thought that was just a side note. Now back to this. So basically, we go from green no more to white light, and whereas the first, whereas the next 3 episodes deal with the reverberations of Tommy leaving the team. Now we see Tommy coming back as the White Ranger. And this is where die ranger comes in while I'm talking about, in which the white ranger, who was known as Keeper Ranger, was in that episode. So all the die ranger suits, red, black, yellow, yellow, pink, and blue were pretty much the same style costumes as the White Ranger. So for that, they just decided to bring over the some of the footage and elements of the White Ranger and the Tiger Sword. So, but when the White Ranger interacts with the rest of the cast, that's probably where the Zayu 2 footage comes in. And it is a two-parter, so I put 17 or 18, but as a whole, it is 77 and 78. And the main highlight of the episode is the editing technique. As I think as a kid and more as an adult, I can appreciate, while watching it again, I can appreciate because they did like a very cool job with the editing sequence. During the first closing minutes of part one, while Billy decides to investigate, and they have he has a surprised look on his face with the revelation of they're creating a new ranger. Obviously, this is also a bit of foreshadowing in that the audience kind of knows a little bit of what's going on more than the characters, because they think with the discovery of the White Ranger, that means Tommy is sort of expendable. They can replace somebody else as the White Ranger. And it isn't until kind of the reveal in part two, with this slow revelation sequence and Kimberly fainting, that we find out that yes, the White Ranger is Tommy Return. And with the White Ranger, Jordan kind of explains that the Green Ranger's powers were used for evil purposes. With the White Ranger, I mean, the episode is white light, meaning the light cannot be extinguished. So basically, white in this sense is good. So the White Ranger's powers, as long as it's in Tommy's hands, it can't be taken away from him. So this is, so basically that's why you put green no more and then white light together, as they are not just crucial of the episodes in terms of like the editing techniques and camera work. I think those were the best two episodes that kind of define kind of where the second season was not as strong as the first season, but I consider some of these episodes in the first half to be kind of what I thought were kind of the highlights or the best episodes, in my opinion, of what the second season with the White Ranger. I mean, the episode is white light, meaning the light cannot be extinguished. So basically, white in this sense is good. So the White Ranger's powers, as long as it's in Tommy's hands, it can't be taken away from him. So this is, so basically that's why you put green no more and then white light together, as they are not just crucial of the episodes in terms of like the editing techniques and camera work. I think those were the best two episodes that kind of define kind of where the second season was not as strong as the first season, but I consider some of these episodes in the first half to be kind of what I thought were kind of the highlights or the best episodes, in my opinion, of what the second season was. So next episode, we go on from that to what I thought was another crucial episode, the Ninja Encounter, which you can see just give it back on white light a minute. I guess three of the characters are us in St. John, Tweet Twain, and Walter Jones, because they weren't with the screen actor skills at the time. They kind of wanted more money to be stuck around on set. When that didn't happen, they were starting to be kind of phased out. So with the Ninja Encounter, that's what you see on top right. The series started focusing on Kimberly, Tommy, and Billy more. And even though he's the White Ranger, why you see him a lot in the green outfit getup is they had to use sort of deleted scenes from the kind of the first and season episodes. So that's why he's in his green. Basically, he didn't dye his sword white yet. So that's kind of a little partial humor joke in there. But so they were starting to face the three other Rangers out not a little too well, and they brought in this sees the introduction of three new people to the cast, Rocky, Adam, and Aisha. This was, I did go on that they're starting to phase out Jason, Tweenie, and Zach, but this is also part 3, the first time that civilians kind of know the identities of the Power Rangers. This was kind of a crucial episode as it was beginning somewhat a new phase of the second season. and you'll understand why in a minute or two. Now we go from the ninja encounter to the power transfer. And as you can see from the length of when the episodes aired, it was only a short time. So uh, so basically, as Lucky, Adam, and Aisha were civilians, they kind of be, became allies, and well, they helped the Power Rangers out. They knew about the putties. They can help deal with the putties. And they kind of knew somewhat of such monsters, but they were basically civilians who helped basically the Rangers on Earth in time of need, in time of peril and of great need. But pretty much nothing else. But now with the power transfer, which is the 27th and 28th episode of the second season, episode as a whole were episodes 87 and 88. Lucky, Adam, and Aisha assumed mental of the new red, black, and yellow Ranger. And with this, it also phased out the characters of Reggie and Curtis, will they kind of probably become allies more if uh, if the main three if the main three stayed on the team. Like yeah, and with that also we get started with that, we get a new casting. So you have, I didn't put them in order of casting. I just put it by, I just put Jason David Frank as first because as White Ranger, he's the leader of the team. We have Steve Cardenas next as Lucky, and then I would put Amy Jo Johnson as Kimberly or David Yost as Billy next because I think both of them are like the second strongest of the original team after Tommy, and they still continue. And even if they were strong Rangers within the first team, they were still considered the strongest of the Rangers within the second team. So next we have Karen Ashley as Aisha, Aisha Taylor, and Johnny Young Bosch as Adam Park. So that's main second team. So now we go to the next phase of episodes. I would like to start with when is Ranger not Ranger. This is the 31st episode of the second season, and as a whole, it's the 92nd episode of the series. And this is also the first attempt at making Bulk and Skull appear more heroic than they are. They are kind of lovable, kind kind of lovable bullies, kind of the comical stooges without the third stooge, if you will. They do kind of show them coming out of their shell a little bit at this point, but then it reverts back to the old ways at the end as the episode itself concerns. The Power Rangers coming up against a villain themselves, scatterbrained, because when he fires a weapon, it kind of reverts the Rangers back to the civilian identities, and as civilians, they don't know who they are, and it's kind of up to Bulk and Skull to cop out and save the day. So there are the great callbacks in the episode in the form of kind of flashbacks, but the ultimate heroic moment, as I said, comes towards the end on almost whether or not to reveal their identities to the public or just keep it to themselves. So it was, so this was actually, I thought, a very good episode, a kind of a single episode arc revolving around Bulk and Skull. So that was very good. Good episode to include in there that I thought. So now we go from November all the way to a new year, February 1995, because that was an episode called The Wedding. And as you can see, we got, as you can see in series, in terms of series as a whole, well past the 100th episode milestone at this point. This is The Wedding, and this, while getting over the 100th episode milestone here, as it's a 3-part episode that introduces, shall I say, reintroduces Rita Repulsa back into the fold as it makes a grand return to the series. And this is the first time that she appears in American footage, whereas Barbara Goodwin voiced her in the first series. She is played by Carla Perez this time around. When, like I mentioned, this is by the air dates I have, this is a 3-part episode, although I forgot to include it on here. But there's a kind of a subtle shift within, I think, the first or second part, where they incorporate the Japanese Lethal Reports footage, and then in a subtle change, it switches over to the American Lethal Reports. So that subtle kind of switch. You see Carla Perez in the role in the first time, And you also see, when I talked about the first episode being of the second series being, or season, being the mutiny, Carla Perez does show up, but only from behind. So this is the first time you see her, in full view, meaning you see her face, you see everything, of her, not just her back, but her front as well. And as you could tell by this episode being the wedding and the clever way they do the air date, this is about Rachel Reporter gaining back power to her moon palace, and the only way by doing that is tricking Lord Zed into marrying her to continue her power, or to continue gaining power. And from this point on, Lord Zed and Rachel Portia become the disastrous duo for the majority of this second season from here on out, and continues through the third season. And then you go from there to Return of the Green Ranger, which was a very cleverly unique episode in a way. This introduces the concept of basically two Tommy Olivers inhabiting the same place and time as each other, fighting each other, one as his evil Green Ranger counterpart, and one as the White Ranger. And also this episode introduces a sort of time travel element that we see in other episodes as in the season. Rangers in Time, kind of Rangers in Time and Wild West Rangers continues this tradition. But yet this finds the main core team traveling back to 18th century Angel Grove. Meanwhile, the two Tommies are still remain in the 20th century, battling out with each other as the main monster in this steals a piece of Tommy's lock here, and with Tommy's lock, he is able to make an evil Green Ranger counterpart out of him. But it was fun as the battle itself was a little interesting to view. But this also is the final episode to use the new footage from Zio Ranger and Zio 2, as all future footage is made up of shots that are used from earlier episodes. But like I said, it is a time travel episode. It is fun to watch. And basically, unlike the last, as with Going with Evil, yes, the is kind of a redemption quality to the evil version of Tommy at the end that I won't spoil. Go ahead from February to May, which is basically the season finale. As you can tell, this is what got to the 112th point of the season. And I wasn't going to include this episode, but I mean, I liked it for various reasons, and I did talk about one of the one-off characters in my previous so I would like to show that's kind of why I'm including it here. So basically this is Blue Angel gone bad, and it's another Billy centric episode, but it was fun in watching David Yost play both his good version of Billy and the evil bad version of Billy Yo. And it's the final appearance of the Siren local episodes from seasons 1 and 2, as the Power Rangers itself will have new local episodes with the next season. And I included it down below. Yes, it features another one-off character by the name of Violet, who kind of idolizes Billy and kind of is a classmate friend of Billy's. And as you can see, she is kind of the only person to correctly guess an identity of a Power Ranger without either meeting the Power Rangers for themselves, as one of her projects at the end of the episode is to kind of like a presentation to the class of what you created, and she creates a sculpture of Billy as a Power Ranger, and that's why she correctly guesses, because even though it's the wrong Ranger color, she's basically on the right track. And the episode ends with some snickering or high five at the end that I don't know if it was ad-libbed or not, but it was kind of the perfect way to end both the season and the episode itself. And just as a little reference, I took all the pictures from the internet through my slideshows and downloaded Violet. It was attempt at romantic display from a psychopath, which I could only assume somebody was having fun with the naming of their still images. But I changed it to Blue Angel Gone Bad. and I kind of leave that to the vivid imaginations of its fans whether Violet was truly attempting a romantic relationship or not. Obviously, Violet wasn't like Marge, so I'm going to end it right here on that note, and I'll see you guys when I do the third season.